This presentation was made to help an electronic timing official training to become an administrative official learn about Meet Manager. Remember that a successful meet starts with an accurate setup. Take some time exploring the setup menu of Meet Manager. Swim off and judge's decision. In this example, listing the results of prelims of Event 6 shows that there is a tie for 8th place, and there needs to be a swim-off to determine who goes to the championship final and who goes to the consolation final. I first created a new event called 6S. I made it a timed final and a swim-off, and it is not a scored event. If you are operating with a Colorado 5 timing console, which won't accept letters, you may need to create a different event number for your swim-off. Event 6S was then added to the preliminary session after Event 14. The timing of this was determined by the referee and the swimmers and the coaches. It is within 45 minutes of when the last swimmer completes his last event. If possible, the new session is uploaded to the timing console so that the event shows up in order for the console operator. I also wanted to point out that you can use this page to add breaks in a session. After creating Event 6 and adding it to the session, the event can then be manually seeded from the run screen by adjust F8. The two affected swimmers' names were dragged into the center's lanes, and they don't need a seed time. Remember to save before leaving this page for the changes to apply. But if you don't, you will get a warning box reminding you to save this. After you save this, you need to print and distribute several copies of the Meet program for the swim-off events for the involved swimmers, coaches, referee, starter, timing console operator, announcer, and stroke and turn judges. You also need to print and distribute lane timer sheets for the affected lanes. After Event 5 was swum, the results show Lane 5 placing ahead of Lane 4 in the swim-off. Lane 5 will then swim in the finals heat, and Lane 4 will swim in the consolation final. You now do a judge's decision on Event 6, not the swim-off. This is also the same method of doing a judge's decision caused by a timing error. Event 6 is selected, and the judge's decision button is pushed. You then enter the correct placing for the involved swimmers in the contested event, and then select OK. You are now ready to seed Event 6 for finals. After Event 6 has been seeded and the finals Meet program is printed, note that the swimmers appear in the correct place. In this case, Isaac shows up in lane 4 of consolation final, and Darren shows up in lane 8 of championship final. Their times are the times that they achieved during prelims, not the times that they achieved during the swim-off. Also note that the meet program has a B final and then an A final, rather than just heat 1 and 2. Heats versus psych output and ignore psych. This is a problem that has delayed many a meet that I have attended when the operator doesn't understand this information. In this meet, event 13 and 14, 500 freestyle, it was decided will be deck-seated events. In order to incorporate the psych sheet into the meet program, a psych output was chosen for those events. When the event is finally seated, it is very important to check the box that says ignore psych. Failure to do this will only allow psych sheets to be printed and not the lane assignments. Note that this is under the columns format index tab when creating the meet program report. A final, B final. This prelims finals event has been set up for consolation and finals heats in the final session. This is the A final, B final that was previously mentioned. If this box is not chosen, the results from the two heats will be integrated and scored like a timed finals. Working with the run screen, what do the colors mean? In this example, button 2 in lane 6 is highlighted pink because it is more than 0.3 seconds from the touchpad time. In this example, lane 1 is highlighted because the backup buttons do not support the touchpad time. The buttons do support each other in this case, and they can be used once they are adjusted for the timing system difference. By clicking the Calc Control K button, Meet Manager can do the lane timing malfunction calculation. It comes up with the adjusted time. Also note the box where you can do a heat malfunction. By checking this box, another dialog box will appear where you can enter the watch times and the lane time or the heat malfunction calculation will be calculated. In this example, the pad in lane 1 is late, but the buttons back each other up and can be used once adjusted using the lane timing adjustment. However, button 2 in lane 6 is late, and it should not be used in the calculation. Notice that Meet Managers does not include lane 6 in the calculation. In this example, the buttons in lane 7 are slower than the pad, and they back each other up. This is a blue line. While a blue line often indicates timer failure and a good pad time, in this example, closer scrutiny shows that the pad time is an intermediate time. Therefore, the buttons should be averaged and adjusted for a final time. In this example, a green line indicates that one button backs up the pad, but one button is off, as you can see in lane 7. Usually the pad time is okay, as in this circumstance. Entry limits and exception reports. Entry limits for the entire meet are entered by going to the main menu, going to Entry and Scoring Preferences, choosing the Entry Limits Index tab, and then entering the limits as specified in the meet announcement. Entry limits for a session are entered in the session setup by editing the session and entering the limits. Exception reports are accessed from the Reports menu. Exception reports can check for swimmers who exceed the maximum entries per athlete. And also for those who do not meet the time standards. Here are a few more useful run screen options. You can choose Preferences, Run Screen, and choose choices from this list, or if you go one up, Results for List and Score, you'll get a menu box that will change your output reports, List for prelims, and Score for finals.